Poets from all over the world came here buying their own tickets, underline this, buying their own tickets. Traveling, we traveled for 48 hours. Some people have traveled 40 hours. 48 hours flying time. Enormous money. Enormous exhaustion. Why have they come here? Because they love poetry, they love India. So our thanks are due to them. And poets from all over India, when I go to Europe, they ask me, which is the language of India? When I tell them we have 22 languages and hundreds of other tribal languages, they just don't understand because the linguistic richness of India is so mind-boggling. And you have not been able to cover all the 22 languages because of various limitations. For instance, Urdu is a major language from this country. We invited a very good Urdu poet from Bangalore and he fell sick, he could not come. And we have not been able to cover Konkani and Kashmiri. All these are languages of India. If next sangam happens, whoever curates it and whoever organizes it, I hope all these languages will be covered. And we tried to cover adivasi languages. We've seen how this young man, Jitendra Vaswa, he charged the whole auditorium with his powerful voice and rhythms. And I wanted to get more of them, but they have no money to travel. I'm told his salary is only less than 20,000 rupees per month. He has come all the way because after with the fluorescence of women's poetry, there is poetry. Now it's adivasi poetry, which is speaking the language of the earth to us, and it's calling us back to the fundamental questions about how we should rethink our relationship with the earth, which is the foundation of all that we do. And then poets are there, poems are there. Even among world poets, we couldn't, for instance, we couldn't get anybody from Arabic, which is one major language in the world. Chinese, which is another major language. The most widely spoken languages because of various limitations. And they were not paying the ticket money, they were not able to come. And then translation is as important for poetry as the writing of it. And we put all the burden on my friend Kamlakar Bhatt, who is himself a fantastic poet and a fantastic translator, single-mindedly committed to poetry and translation, and he managed it very well, and he involved very young people. He wanted this to be a training for young poets to translate from other languages, and he's one of the persons who are responsible for whatever success achieved to this. So big hand to Kamlakar Bhatt and his team. The first day I quoted William Butler Yeats, who said, "In dreams begin responsibilities." I just said a dream, but the responsibility to translate it into reality, I delegated it to doctors of ballari. Doctors treat the body, and poets treat the heart. Art and poetry is also therapy, and healing is also an art. So this coming together of the doctors who treat the body and poets who treat the heart is a very unique event, and I suppose first of its kind. I remember when we went to Romania, I think Hevia was with me, we were taken to a police headquarters to read poetry. And the top cop of the city of Craiova in Romania said, "We look after the law and order of the country, but who looks after us? Our heart is you poets." And that is the responsibility of poetry. And of course, some of our speakers, including my great friend Ilan Mantaya, whose support he gave me at the most critical moment when my play Mahachetra was attacked, when I was about to be torn to pieces by some agitators. He is the one who rescued me. He saved my life at that time. He, including him, and T.P. Basava, another great friend, have talked about the role of poetry as resistance. That's fine. But I think more than resistance, poetry is also healing. In India, we use the word Sahitya for literature. One of the meanings of the word Sahitya is togetherness. The togetherness of the poet with the Sahrudaya. Sahrudaya, today some newspaper people ask me, who is getting good crowds. I said, we are not getting crowds. We are getting attentive readers, Sahrudayas. Need not be so many, but we need listening people, attentive people. And I should thank the people, and most of them have left now, because tomorrow they have to go back to their work. People came from other places. I thank all of them for their enthusiastic support and patience. And individually, I should name the organizers, Dr. Arvind Patel, and when I said, "Can you do it?" without any hesitation, he said, "Yes." And then we had Dr. Diwakar Reddy. I am not computer savvy. I don't know how to copy the letters and send it to poets. He is the one who looked after the digital aspect of it. I mean, this computer aspect of this organization. I'm infinitely grateful to him. And Dr. Yoganand Reddy organized hospitality. And he would call me at 3 a.m. in the morning. Such and such a poet had arrived. Are you awake? Fortunately for him, I never sleep. I get up at 3 in the morning and I sleep. I've been sleeping only for 3 hours for the last 30 years. So he was as awake as me and he was attending to every minute detail of this work. The whole thing he carried out, I should say, more or less faultlessly. That's a tall claim to say, more or less faultlessly. So I thank him from the depth of my heart. Lastly, I could have done this in Bangalore, could have done this in Chennai, any other place, because I have friends everywhere. Bangalore is my birthplace, but I chose Ballari instead of Bangalore, because Ballari is the birthplace, is part of Hampi, is the birthplace of the second great renaissance in pre-modern Kannada literature. People have talked about the Vachanas. The Vachanas wouldn't be available to us if 101 Viraktas of Vijayanagar had not put them together, anthologized them, and commented on them. Apart from the fact that Vijayanagar is a great center of art and architecture, and this glory of Vijayanagar cannot be reconstructed, at least it can be relived through poetry, I thought. And during Vijayanagar, it was a center of international trade and commerce. And we wanted to make the same area the center of international poetry exchange. And My friend Hanumantya said that if I get Nobel Prize for doing this, he's for it. But unfortunately, nowhere in the world is Nobel Prize given to anybody who organizes poetry festivals. It's given, and one irresponsible journalist had made this accusation against me, a journalist who hardly reads any poetry, because he thinks poets are journalists. He says that I'm doing this to get some, not even Nobel, some Gnanpith award in India. Nobody, of course, not everybody who's got Gnanpith award is a good poet. Not everybody who's got Nobel Prize is a good poet. Tolstoy didn't get it. August Strindberg didn't get it. When August Strindberg in Sweden didn't get the Nobel Prize, the workers of Sweden, they put the money together and gave him an award equivalent to Nobel Prize. So in India, I am not expecting the working class to do it for me, but it is a support that people give me that is of most importance, because no true poet works for awards or rewards. A great poet Pampa said, "Kavitayal hasagaiva phalamanavudu pooja nagalte lavanandu parama jinendravani datane vadavissave pararippudem paramalpudem pararinda appudem." He was not even the courtier of an emperor, he was the courtier of a small king, a feudatory king. He says, what fruits do we expect from poetry? Is it adoration, fame, profit? He said, no. It is the embodiment of Saraswati. And Saraswati, during his age, is Paramajinendravani. The words of the great Tirthankara, the greatest of Jaina sages, that was the greatest truth of his period. He says, Paramajinendravani, that is real Saraswati, that's real poetry. Beradu Penna Rupam, other words are like other ordinary mortal women. So that is the spirit, because Basavanna, another great poet of Tampampa, he said, Arasu Vichara, Siriya Shringara, Thiravallamanawa. The poet does not, we know the Emperor Bijara of this time because a poet called Basavanna was alive at that time. Otherwise, who talk about Bijara? We know that there was a ruler called Ibrahim Lodi because Kabir was there. Ibrahim Lodi exiled Kabir. Otherwise, who would know Ibrahim Lodi? So Basavanna said, Arasa Vichara, the matters of king, Siriya Shringara, the splendor of wealth, Sthiravallamanawa, they will not last, but poetry lasts. So, poetry, in fact, we've been using the word festival because that's the usage, but it's a confluence, not actually a festival. We have Jaipur festival, so many multinational companies fund it and so on, corporate houses. And our journalists don't criticize that, they're criticizing us. Very interesting. This is confluence. I will conclude with one line that my guru, Gopal Krishna Diga, my poetry guru, wrote in one of his poems. Amruta sagara vandu hariyutide manavana yadeyinda yadege satata. There is a constant flow of immortal nectar from the ocean of immortality flowing between hearts of human beings. And poetry is the consolidation. It is the assertion of the unity of all human beings. In the past, they said India was always divided politically. It was poetry which divided India. It's Bhakti poetry which unified India from the tip of South India up to Kashmir in the north and from Assam to Assam, across east and west. When in Maharashtra, when there was a great Varkari movement which was started with Sant Nandev, after his persecution, his disciple Namdev traveled all the way up to Punjab and he was responsible for the emergence